Hello, I'm Jonasz Rawiński and you're watching Break the Fake. They make them, we break them, and tell you everything you need to know. Vladimir Putin, the ever-loyal vassal, scrambling to solidify his spot in the axis of dependence. With Trump's inauguration stirring up his insecurities, our bunker Tsar wasted no time cozying up to his friends in his so-called axis of evil. After hosting Iran's leadership with great fanfare, because who doesn't love a little uranium-fueled bonding, Putin turned to his true love, China's Xi Jinping. And this is where the aforementioned dependence really comes in. In a call, Putin reassured Xi of his undying devotion. One can only imagine the exchange. "My dearest Xi, my heart beats only for Beijing. How else may I serve the glorious Chinese Empire today?" Somewhere in that love letter, he managed to toss in his favorite talking point about the resurgence of fascism in the West, a classic Kremlin deflection whenever someone mentions, say, I don't know, invading Ukraine, for example.
Господин председатель, в нынешнем году мы готовимся достойно отметить 80-летие Великой Победы. Память о ней священна для народов наших стран, которые вели кровопролитную борьбу против агрессоров и ценой неисчислимых жертв одолели врага. Нельзя позволить идеологии фашизма, нацизма и милитаризма вновь поднять голову. Важно совместно с другими нашими единомышленниками бережно хранить и отстаивать историческую правду. Дорогой друг, хотел бы теперь уже лично поздравить вас и дружественный китайский народ с новым 2025 годом и наступающим праздником весны. Позвольте пожелать вам крепкого здоровья и удачи, как в Китае говорят, удачи в 10 тысячах дел. А вашему народу мира и процветания.
He also mentioned the ideology of militarism, this coming from the leader of a country that spends most of its money to fuel its war machine. Yeah, that all checks in, right, doesn't it? Now, the irony of it all is that Putin's Russia, once a supposed global superpower, now clings to China's coattails, reduced to a glorified raw material supplier and geopolitical sidekick. While Xi Jinping eyes the world stage, Putin is busy practicing his bow. So yeah, Vladimir Putin, you've taken the art of submission to new heights, proving that even in the Kremlin there is always room for a second fiddle. Keep saluting Beijing, it's the closest you ever get to relevance. By the way, the Trump inauguration, remember who got invited? Xi Jinping. He didn't come, but the Chinese vice president did. Was Vladimir Putin on the list of people invited to attend? No, he wasn't, and that should tell you everything you need to know. Now, we all know the Russian State Duma is where sober diplomacy goes to die, and unfiltered absurdity keeps thriving. In the latest episode of Delusions of Grandeur, General Viktor Solovyov, who also happens to be a member of the Communist Party, because yeah, the Communist Party still exists, speculated on Trump's possible plans to annex Canada and Greenland. Before Solovyov could finish spinning his geopolitical fairy tale, Deputy Party leader Leonid Kalashnikov chimed in with his solution. Bomb them! Like, who will bomb whom? Details, please? Any details? Well, who needs details when you've got this spirit?
Спрашивать они у меня, что
А что вы ждете?
я от Трампа ничего хорошего не жду. Это будет более жесткая политика в отношении России. Он сейчас Канаду и Гренландию приберет, потом... Бомбить их.
This is the Russian imperialism at its best. Loud, reckless, and completely detached from reality. When faced with real problems, such as crumbling economy or global isolation, the answer is to fantasize about blowing things up. It's not about strategy or solutions, it's about flexing the atrophied muscles of an empire long past its prime. So let's get this straight. A room full of politicians from a country busy bombing its neighbors are casually suggesting more bombs as the answer to what exactly? To being ignored by the West? Just one more bomb, bro, and maybe someone will notice us. Yeah, maybe. So I guess we could congratulate the State Duma at this stage, because their theatrical bluster may not win any wars, but it certainly provides top-tier comedy. Keep dreaming of global domination while the world keeps rolling its eyes. Now, in his latest rant, Vladimir Solovyov, the Kremlin's very own red-faced court jester, called the Bucha massacre fake, while spinning a grotesque fairy tale about atrocities allegedly committed in the Kursk region of Russia, and also who were they committed by? Yeah, Ukrainian Nazis. We've heard this before, haven't we? According to Solovyov, these beasts, yeah, I'm using his words, he called them beasts, were targeting helpless elderly Russians because, of course, everything revolves around persecuting poor old innocent Moscow. But wait, there is more. He has a solution. So what is this solution then? Bring back public executions. Nothing quite like medieval punishments broadcast during broad daylight to show the world you're a civilized nation. Solovyov demands vengeance, dehumanizing anyone who stands against Russia's aggression, all the while claiming a monopoly on morality. It is a remarkable feat to sound both unhinged and utterly hypocritical at the same time, in the very same breath. But somehow, he keeps doing it.
Буч – это фальшивка. А то, что произошло в Курской губернии, убийство наших стариков, это преступление, из-за него не должно быть прощения. И я, конечно, не знаю, вы, может, все очень люди добрые, а я считаю, что вот просто убивать надо. Надо просто убивать. Когда бойцы группы Кэштена спецназа «Ахмат» обнаружили тела зверски замученных пенсионеров в подвалах села Русское и Поречное, я считаю, что всех этих боевиков надо найти и публично казнить, которые убили наших стариков. Они их пытали и убили. Запад молчит, а Западу плевать. Как сказала эта тварь Шольц, геноцид русских – это смехотворно. А у меня подход один. Вернуть смертную казнь, и мне плевать на миротворческие настроения ряда наших глубоко уважаемых политических деятелей. У меня нет никаких миротворческих настроений по отношению к подонкам, которые убили наших стариков. Я вот был сейчас в Курахово, я говорил с мирными жителями, которые неделями находились в подвалах и которые рассказывали, как украинские нацисты расстреливали мирных жителей Курахова, потому что вы все ждете русских, вы все ждуны. И они их просто убивали.
This little piece of footage raises so many questions. Like, he's sitting in the studio. Why is he wearing a winter jacket? Russia used to say, oh, Europe is going to freeze over. Is Russia freezing over? Hello, Gazprom, how are you doing there? And another thing, also, he mentions old people being killed by the Ukrainians. Well, maybe Russia should stop sending old people with weapons and tanks to the front line. Because so far as I'm aware, the young Russians, they are not really participating in the war that much. Many of them are busy partying in Switzerland, drinking champagne. So yeah, they send old people to the front line. The only old people I believe were targeted deliberately by the Ukrainians were Russian troops. And that's it. However, he also keeps attacking the West, and these attacks on the West are as predictable as they are absurd. Germany's Olaf Scholz, in Solovyov's story, finds the genocide of the Russians laughable. A take so far-fetched it might as well belong in a clearance bin dystopian novel, maybe? I don't really know. And yet Solovyov thrives on this toxic stew of lies, violence and imagined victimhood, spoon-feeding this stuff to his audience like poison disguised as patriotism. So yeah, Vladimir Solovyov keeps outdoing himself every single day. His propaganda playbook is as subtle as a sledgehammer, as subtle as a Russian tank rolling over the border, probably also just as destructive, at least when it comes to spreading utter brain rot into the minds of people listening to it. But anyway, Solovyov, yeah, keep shouting. Every word is a testament to the Kremlin's desperation, in fact, if nothing else. And with this, we conclude this episode of Break the Fake. Please stay with us here on TVP World for more latest news and updates.